as an investor, we were concerned about risk-adjusted returns. And your colleague has done a very good job of making the case of why it's a healthy environment to seek those returns. As an MD, put that into a perspective of risk-adjusted returns. When we're looking for high growth, but it's in emerging markets. You know, what kind of returns and what kinds of risk and how are those risks mitigated as you tell your investment story?
Well, first of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There are 3 important points which I'd like just to mention, and maybe also probably as a sort of note just to summarize basically what Ken said. Number one, when we talk of Mauritius, Mauritius is not that small island, you know, where we find that probably people will talk of 1.3 million population, the size and so on. No. More importantly, it is also, there's another thing which I'd like to say is, most people would remember Mauritius as the island of paradise, just for tourism, for sun and sea. No. It's a vibrant economy with huge investment opportunities in a number of new sectors, growing sectors, right, as highlighted. This is one thing. Secondly, as I said, it's not only that small country that we're talking, it's a huge, it has got huge resources in terms of the economic, exclusive economic zone of 1.9 million square kilometers, which means that this is one of the basins which is still highly unexploited and very rich, and I'm afraid more and more we are that gateway into an investment and business hub. Ken mentioned about 44%, it's very important that I highlighted that about 34% of the investment which is going into India is through Mauritius, and here we're talking about $12 billion US. That is one of the reasons of this is the special treaty that we've got between Mauritius and India. So when we talk of therefore Mauritius, it is something much more than one would perceive. In terms of risks that you said, I'm very glad to tell you that, I mean, most investors who have come to Mauritius have found an extremely investor-friendly country. This has been witnessed, I think it mentioned by, you know, Ken presented there as #1 in Africa in terms of ease of doing business, in terms of political stability, and obviously, so whenever you have these sort of risks completely out of way, so any investor will find, once the business model is fine, will find some of the risks are quite interesting. And now, Mauritius is playing one of the vital role in terms of especially sponsoring investment into, especially the Eastern and Southern African region.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you, Mauritius. If there aren't any questions, thank you, audience. We'll be moving next to the Ras Al Khaimah Investment Authority. As I believe you know, Ras Al Khaimah is one of the Emirates of the United Arab Emirates. And we will have Alex Thomas, who will make the investment case for RAK. He is the General Manager of Marketing and Promotion for the Investment Authority. Alex, can you please come on?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start the presentation, I'd like to actually show us a short video. Is that fine? Yeah. We'll just show us a small video, then of course I can make the presentation after that.
Maybe 10 times in turnover in less than 6 years.
Investors can come, they can count on the support from government.
Transport is not a problem.
Sold 70% of our production.
There was no differentiation between a larger company setting up and a smaller company setting up.
We find it a very good place to live for the family.
The place they're talking about is Ras Al Khaimah, the gateway to the Arabian Gulf. Situated at the entrance to the Gulf, Ras Al Khaimah is the northernmost of the 7 emirates that form the United Arab Emirates. With the majestic Hajar Mountains on the east and the Arabian Gulf on the west, the picturesque emirate boasts long sandy beaches, year-long sunshine, fertile soil, and beautiful deserts. Blessed by political stability and a visionary leadership, the United Arab Emirates has seen a pace of growth that is unparalleled in the world. The United Arab Emirates is the leading transshipment hub between Europe, Far East, CSI countries, Africa, and the Indian subcontinent. In other words, it is the pivotal point to reach more than 2 billion consumers. With world-class hotels and resorts, Ras Al Khaimah attracts visitors from all over the world. Lately, it even snowed up in the mountains at Jebel Jais, where a mountain resort is nearing completion. The region's biggest aqua theme park, with the world's biggest man-made waterfall, is also situated in Ras Al Khaimah. The government is continuously expanding and modernizing the infrastructure for new projects. Agriculture, dairy products, poultry, and the fishing industry feature prominently amongst the other thriving sectors of the economy. Julfa, the region's leading pharmaceutical manufacturer, is also based in Ras Al Khaimah. With its large mineral deposits, especially limestone, it is a natural center for the region's cement industry. Ceramics is another success story. In just 15 years, RAK Ceramics grew to be the largest single ceramic tiles manufacturer in the world. RAK Ceramics products, which include sanitary ware, are exported to more than 200 countries today. The group's success spawned a string of related industries. Under the able leadership of His Highness Sheikh Saud bin Saker Al Qasmi, Supreme Council Member and ruler of Ras Al Khaimah, is proactive and keen on enterprise. As a result, in 2005, the RAK Investment Authority, Rakia, was launched. It is a one-stop shop providing support to the rapidly expanding industrial sector in the Emirate, right from planning stages to completion. The type of licenses issued are industrial license, commercial license, consulting and service license, general trading license. To facilitate incorporation, Rakia has business and industrial parks consisting of free and non-free zones, as well as RAK Offshore for those wishing to start cost-effective offshore companies. Amongst other factors, Rakia's advantages include 100% foreign ownership of free zone companies, 100% profit and capital repatriation, 0% income and personal taxes, 0% corporate tax, no restrictions on foreign exchange transactions, liberal labor laws, no hassles in obtaining visas, low cost of land, low living costs, and no restrictions on working hours. Unlike traditional free zone entities that offer only real estate, Rakia offers investment advisory service and capital participation on several projects. Rakia has a single window clearance for all applications. Furthermore, a dedicated person is assigned to ensure that the investor's requirements are met quickly and efficiently. Profitability in business is closely tied with the availability of quality infrastructure. There are excellent road networks that connect with all the major seaports and airports in the UAE within an hour's drive away. The Ras Al Khaimah International Airport is just 20 minutes from the city center. bulk commodity port in the region, handling over 50 million tons of rock and aggregate. Al Jazeera Port is designed for bulk cargo and ship repair services. And the maritime city being developed encompasses more than 80 million square meters. The availability and ease of recruiting a skilled workforce from nearby regions has also been an attractive factor for investors in Ras Al Khaimah. Peaceful and crime-free, the Emirate offers all amenities and facilities for a healthy lifestyle. The educational sector is impressive too. Ras Al Khaimah also offers a wide choice of leisure activities. It is not surprising that Standard & Poor affirmed its A long-term and A-1 short-term sovereign credit ratings. Financial Times called it the most cost-efficient destination. Middle Eastern Cities of the Future awarded Ras Al Khaimah the most attractive destination for foreign direct investment, FDI. And World Finance has awarded Ras Al Khaimah the GCC Development and Investment Award for 2010. Ras Al Khaimah today has emerged as the industrial heartland of the Northern Emirates and the fastest growing free zone and industrial zone in the MENA region. With the government's far-sighted progressive policies, deep understanding of investors' needs, and the commitment to foster success and growth, Ras Al Khaimah most certainly has transformed into the investor's choice and your passport to business.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The purpose of showing this video is to familiarize yourself with Ras Al Khaimah. I know that you have heard about Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I would like to actually start with my small presentation. I don't like to actually elaborate a lot, just try to make it as short as possible. I just, in fact, happened to see the FDI inflow into the GCC region. As you know, the GCC region comprises of 6 countries in Saudi, Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman. So I was actually looking at the FDI flows into the GCC by region. Now what you can see is that the highest flow of FDI is coming from the Western Europe, followed by from the Middle East, North America, Asia. And if you see the FDI flow into the GCC in 2009 and 2010, it's somewhere close to $93 billion and 33 billion for the year 2010. The single largest country that has actually invested into the GCC region itself is USA, United States of America. Now, if you look at the GCC countries, who has attracted the most number of investments? If you see it in terms of percentage, UAE is actually 33%, which is the leader, followed by Saudi Arabia, which is 29%, Qatar is 18%, Oman is 13%, Bahrain 5%, Kuwait is 2%. So that's a very clear indication that how good is the investment environment in UAE. What are the major factors that lead into this inflow is political stability, better economic performance, investor-friendly policies of the government, good infrastructure, better oil and energy rates, ideal location, easy of doing business. We already seen in the video where we are located. We're not very far away from Dubai. It's just 45 to 50 minutes away from here. Now, as government of Ras Al Khaimah, which is the important authority that is responsible for attracting investments into Ras Al Khaimah, we've been very active from the year 2005. We've been going on in many places. We've been meeting association companies, talking to individuals or high net worth individuals about the opportunities available. We were formed at the time when there were a lot of investments actually were flowing into the Middle East and the GCC region. Yes, everybody knows that Abu Dhabi is an oil economy. Dubai was more focused into the service and real estate. So we thought there is an opportunity that is available for attracting the industries. We believe that attracting industries will become sustainable, and that will drive a lot of revenue for the government as well as employment. So we created some sort of competitiveness in Ras Al Khaimah so as to attract those investments that is actually going to Saudi Arabia, so that they could invest here and take the benefits of being in UAE, and of course in Ras Al Khaimah, where we focus more on cost effectiveness and also creating a better infrastructure and facilities for companies to make profits. As you know, the government has taken a lot of initiative. They in fact, with Sinus Sheikh Saud, our ruler and the council member of UAE, has actually brought in a World Bank actually to make a study in terms of positioning Ras Al Khaimah, how Ras Al Khaimah can be positioned as an attractive investment destination. So based on their recommendations and on their guidelines, we have actually implemented. There is a lot of changes that has actually happened on the government level itself. If you see a government, he already says that the government should act like a private company, basically servicing the clients rather than working from 8 to 2. You work from 9 to 6. The purpose is to help the companies who are coming into the region. So apart from that, the changes that is actually adopted within the government and the policies and the rules and regulations is actually very favorable to investors. So that's the reason we found that a lot of investments that is actually flowing into the region is actually settling down in Ras Al Khaimah. So that is a great step that government has actually taken. Now, there is a plan, there is a master plan that we have created in the last 6 to 7 years. Now, you could actually see in the screen, this is the area that's, at the moment, it's called the Jazeera Al Hamra, which is the new Ras Al Khaimah city, gateway city, which comprises of most of the industries. If you see here, this is where the industrial cluster, I'm actually showing them the cursor. This is the industrial cluster. The industrial cluster comprises of industrial land, where it's completely developed in terms of the utilities like power, gas, water, gas oil. It's completely laid down. Then, of course, we have, for those companies who are not looking at, large investments, government itself, we have invested in ready-to-build, or ready-to-occupy industrial units. Then, of course, we have accommodations for housing accommodation. And if you see here, these are much larger projects, which is actually going into the sea, where it's high-end projects, actually. It's a 2.5 kilometers that is actually going to the sea, which is called Marjan Island, where we are developing properties. I mean, the whole purpose of this model is to have, private and public partnership. And in many ways, government of Ras Al Khaimah has invested in many projects there in Ras Al Khaimah. The purpose is to actually encourage investments there, and also to give some sort of confidence for the investors that government is a partner. The recent strategy, because of the recession, and we are now focusing more onto the infrastructure development. So currently that participation from the government has actually come down. But of course, if there is some good projects, if you have some good ideas, of course we are ready to listen to you and see what way we can participate. Otherwise, in terms of fund, this is the biggest advantage in this region. Fund is not a problem. Even banks today are very much willing to fund the projects. We are working very closely with HSBC Bank. We are working closely with Bank of Baroda, where most of the funds are actually funded for the investments that is required is funded by these banks. So we can help you with this in that case also in terms of funding. And you have already seen in our video about the other infrastructure facilities, so that's I'd like to skip that area. You already know about this by now. Economy, our GDP now stands at $4.3 billion, and it's been growing at 14% from 2004 and 2008. And if you see it in 2010, we had a growth of 8%. We hope in 2007 we continue with that growth. Mainly the growth drivers are coming from manufacturing, services, tourism, real estate and construction. It is also important, just developing facilities for business is not enough. We also need to develop healthcare and education. Of course, Dubai is not very far away. It is actually well developed in case of education and health. But we thought that it's also important to focus on health and education. So government is actually, in various partnership with various organizations, have actually put on hospitals, education, like schools and colleges, universities. So we are pretty well developed in that way. We have a lot of European quality hospitals, universities, and also from India we have education, especially in the IT sector, engineering sector. We have a lot of education institutions also there that will cater to the population of Ras Al Khaimah. Of course, you have already seen about the facilities. It's not just about, as I said, create a good environment for living. As you know that Ras Al Khaimah has a very, very planned and sustainable development. We're not really growing in 50% growth now. We have very sustainable growth, and it's all very planned and meticulously planned, and the growth is also driven by, in terms of the demand that we have. For example, if you look at the real estate or the leisure or any industry, you look at it, it's basically the demand that drives the investments there. And of course, I've been communicating with some of the investments that has already gone to Ras Al Khaimah. Most of the people are doing well. I mean, ever since the recession has started, there is not even one case of a company actually closing down in Makkah Industrial Park. So that's a good sign. And apart from that, as you know, that cost is an important factor. And we also commit on a long term. I mean, predictability is something which we always talk about. It's very important for companies investing there. They should be able to have some sort of predictability in terms of, look, what are the costs, and so that's very important. So this is something which we focus there, and I think it's something which is very unique in this part of the world. Just to give you an idea about Iraqi Investment Authority, we specialize in the industrial area. So we have 2 industrial parks, that is in Al Hamra Industrial Park and Al Gail Industrial Park. And of course we have all the facilities that I've mentioned. And apart from that, we're also taking care of those small businesses that is actually entering the UAE market. Not necessarily that they come with an industrial company in Europe or in India or anywhere in the world. We're probably looking at entering in a trading or a consultancy or a service organization where they test the market and they will see if it is viable to go in. So we have actually developed infrastructure for those companies to actually come in and use our business parks, and we provide them the licenses, we provide them all the facilities including the visa. So it's all come from one building itself. And as you've seen in the video, there's one executive is designed to that person. It's a well-qualified person, so he will take you from the planning all the way to the implementation. And also the visas and all those are issued from the same building that you've already seen, so you don't have to really go to the immigration and to the labor. Actually, the immigration is actually sitting in that office. So clearance, everything goes from this office. Typically, a license, a service or a trading license is issued in 2 to 3 hours. An industrial license depends on what sort of industry that requires clearance from the environment department. Normally it takes 48 hours. So this is the time frame that we are talking about. And we also have created various other facilities for the industries and business to actually strive in terms of attracting other facilities, like for example, construction of steel structures. So we have Zamal Steel, we have Kiwi Steels, we have attracted a lot of companies there. So today, to build up a factory is much cheaper in Ras Al Khaimah than anywhere in UAE for this matter. And this is a picture of our free zone. 4 years ago, this place was just other than just battle land. Today, you can actually see this was taken a year ago. More industries have actually come in. Our strategy is actually to create the infrastructure. This is very important because we look at the very mature markets like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, where the infrastructure is very good. So we thought what is also important is to develop infrastructure which is catering to the industrial sector. Though, as most of the people know here, perhaps, we don't have revenue from oil. So the revenue that we get is actually going in for some sort of strategic partnership where we make dividend out of that. Then, of course, from the services the government is actually doing. So we have really utilized our profits. We have actually plowed our profit back to the economy itself in a very efficient way by actually investing in the infrastructure itself. That's actually paid results by now. You can see a lot of companies have actually come in.